Can you put a price on creamy, dreamy bokeh, on low light freedom that lets you capture the moment without cranking your ISO? How fast of a lens do you really need? Can you even tell the difference between f1.4 and f2.8? The answer is yes. You can put a price on it. Depending on the lens, we're talking approximately $1,000. But here's the real question. When is that price difference actually worth it? That's what we're diving into today. I'm Brenda Bergreen, and today we're cutting through the noise. f1.4, f2.8, what really matters, and how to make every lens choice work for your vision and your budget. In this video, we'll cover how to shoot with lenses of various apertures, when the fancier, faster lens is actually worth the money, and of course, the real difference between f1.4 and f2.8, especially in low light. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what your lens choice means for your photography, your creativity, and your budget. Let's start simple. f1.4 lets in more light than f2.8. 2 full stops. That means 2 things. Number 1, bokeh. Your background is blurrier. There's more separation between your subject and background. And number 2, low light performance. You can shoot in darker conditions without boosting ISO, keeping images clean. 2 stops translate to 4 times faster shutter speed, doubling with each stop. First, let's talk about that creamy bokeh. How noticeable is it, and how hard do you have to look for it? I had Mark take some portraits of me at f1.4 and f2.8. Can you tell which is which? Now let's keep closing the aperture and see when you can notice the difference. Between these 2 pictures? Between these 2? As you can see, there's a difference between 1.4 and 2.8, but mostly only to the trained eye, or the perfectionist eye. For some photographers, f2.8 is plenty. And if it's not, we'll talk later about some other techniques to make it work better for you. So if you're shooting outdoors in bright daylight, that extra stop of light may not matter at all. Let's move on to low light conditions. In low light conditions, more light isn't just about bokeh. More light is about being able to shoot faster without lowering your shutter speed or cranking your ISO. If you're shooting weddings, events, or night photography, every stop of light counts. f1.4 lets you avoid high ISO and motion blur. This brings us to another factor to consider: capturing motion and action. For motion, a faster lens equals faster shutter equals sharper images in tricky conditions. One time we were out shooting professional skiers, and while I would normally predict that setting my shutter speed at 1/8000 was plenty fast enough, there was this one guy that was so fast, getting a sharp image was a true challenge. f2.8 lenses with stabilization or high ISO can still work, but your margin for error is smaller. Remember, photography is really about vision. The lens is just the tool to bring that vision to life. Sometimes a slower lens forces you to think more creatively. Move closer, find better light, or change your perspective. Simple as best. But sometimes that extra stop or 2 of light has the potential to elevate your work. So you need to know when the price tag is worth it. So let's talk money. Say we're looking at a 35mm lens from Sony. Retail prices range from $650 for the 2.8 to $1,600 for the 1.4. Now there are also a ton of other choices if you shop third party, but you can see how there's about $1,000 spread. Sure, the more expensive lens is going to have better image quality, but I doubt most average people can tell the difference when actually looking at the images. If you're shooting event or wedding photography, a faster lens results in less motion blur and it works better in low light. But that doesn't mean all your lenses need to be low aperture lenses. You want to look at your kit as a whole. For example, we use the 70-200 f4 instead of the much more expensive 2.8 version because we don't shoot the 70-200 in low light. We switch to the 85mm prime lens. If you're shooting portraits and you want that creamy bokeh, f1.8 often is enough, unless you need the very shallow depth of field of 1.4. If you're shooting landscape and outdoor photography, f2.8 or even f4 is probably fine, and it allows you to save money there. Even in low light, you can often get away with a slower shutter speed to compensate. But if you're shooting action and adventure, that's where you'll need the low light performance of a fast lens. The truth is, the lens you choose depends on your style, lighting, and budget. Sometimes the extra stop of light isn't worth $1,000. Other times, it's game-changing. Your lens choice is a balance of vision, budget, and freedom. understanding your tools and embracing creativity even when your lens isn't perfect. If money and size and weight were no object, we'd all be walking around with f1.2 lenses. But you're always gonna have to make a compromise somewhere. Which brings us to some workarounds and shooting tips. So as I said, not everyone needs f1.4 lenses, and not everyone has room for it in their budget. So here are some ways to get shallow depth of field with an f2.8. Move closer to your subject and keep your background far from your subject. Use longer focal lengths. The 85 will produce more bokeh than a 50 or a 35 will. And here's some low light tricks for the f2.8. Boost your ISO intelligently. Know how your camera performs at high ISO and embrace the grain. AI-powered noise reduction in Lightroom and other programs has come a long way. You can also use a tripod or stabilization. A lot of landscape photographers use tripods to allow them to shoot at higher apertures and get sharper images and more depth of field. You can add a reflector or off-camera light. Reflectors, flash, and video lights can be a great alternative to shooting in the dark. If you need a fast lens, but you don't have a big budget, try shopping third-party lenses like Sigma, Tamron, Samyang, or Viltrox. They often sell budget-friendly lenses like this 85. Be sure to check out Mark's review if you want to learn more. Another question is, can you get away with manual focus? There are some great deals on manual focus lenses with super fast aperture. So maybe you learn to use focus peaking. You can also adapt older glass. Another option for getting fast glass without the price tag is to adapt from another lens mount. You can buy adapters for your Sony cameras to use older Canon DSLR lenses. Shop eBay for some great deals, but beware that autofocus might not be as good. You don't always need the fastest lens to capture images that inspire. Creativity, technique, and vision can bridge the gap, but knowledge is power. Knowing why you've chosen the lens and how you plan to maximize it can help you avoid spending excessive amounts of money on gear. So, do you need f1.4? I would argue that most of the time, the answer is no. But if you crave creamy bokeh or shoot in tricky light, it can be a game changer. If your budget is tight, f2.8 lenses can still do the job. They just challenge you to think a little differently. Think of your lens choice like a compass. It doesn't make the journey for you, but it helps you navigate it. Your goal is to capture the moment in a way that feels alive. And sometimes that means spending a little more for a faster lens. And sometimes it means rising to the challenge with what you've got. If you want to learn more about our photography philosophy, check out our travel photography guide with the link in the description. It's packed with knowledge we've gained over the last 15 years as professional photographers. f1.4, great for low light, shallow depth of field, dreamy portraits. f2.8, versatile, lighter, less expensive, and often plenty fast enough for most situations. Creativity and vision will always trump gear alone. Make sure you hit subscribe for more gear deep dives and shooting tips. Drop a comment below. What lens have you been debating? And do you need that extra stop of light? Together, let's continue to learn, create, and elevate. I'll see you in the next How to Shoot video.